Hello dear listener, hello dear viewer, my name is Mompoloki Lerumo Mogobe, your host to this podcast of ours. We have a repeat guest. You'll be excited to know that Mr. Moshaga has been here before. Actually, he garnered the highest number of viewers at the time, and I felt that we needed him to come and dig deeper on the issue of leadership. We're going to talk about the fundamentals of effective leadership. I will give him an opportunity to introduce himself, and I'm sure you're going to really, really love what he has to share with us. Mr. Moshaga, welcome to the studio.
So it's a pleasure, Mr. Mogobe.
Yes.
Yeah, I can tell the brand is bigger and bigger and getting bigger.
Thank you very much.
You are doing a lot of good work, sir.
Thank you very much.
A lot of good work, sir.
Would you care to tell us who Taolo Moshaga is and what it is you intend to share with us today?
Yeah, Taolo Moshaga is an ordinary servant of the nation.
Mm-hmm.
I specialize in transformation,
Yes.
leadership, business networks, and the like. Mm-hmm. Above all, one thing that we critically involved with is nation building projects as well. They sometimes call it philanthropy, but I call it nation building.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I can relate to that because I've seen you on TV presenting something to HE.
Yes.
On those issues.
On those issues
yeah. But let's go straight to our subject for today. Let's talk about the fundamentals of leadership, of effective leadership.
Of effective leadership.
But I want us to look at it from a Setswana point of view. Yeah. Maybe start with Setswana Ethics.
Yeah.
And just lay a foundation for the discussion based on our ethics insofar as they
who we are.
Leadership. Yes.
It's a very important part of we've mentioned, Mr. Mogobe. Who are we?
Mm.
As Botswana, I need to start saying, God loves Botswana. God loves Botswana. There's so much that has happened in this country. Amazing. Including if you look at the situational analysis of the corona, COVID-19, you can tell that this is a blessed country.
Mm.
And Botswana, we are blessed. If you need to look back a little, just to sum up and thank the Lord, the creator of the Mother Earth and heaven, you will realize that our former British colony.
Yes.
No one saw the diamonds.
Someone to insist it's a protectorate.
No one, the protectorate. No, they didn't see the diamonds.
Yeah.
It's only after they have left that diamonds were discovered.
Yes.
Or else we will still be in the bush, I think, with bazookas. It's just a miracle if you look at it. How it happened that this desert with diamonds and potential oil, no one picked it up until we got our independence. So I just need to indicate one thing. We as a country, as Botswana, we are Christians, we are God-fearing, God-loving, we are God-fearing and loving nation. It's important that we look into that. At the same time, based on the effectiveness here, our traditional leaders, Mahosi Arona, they deserve credit and half. They did well, more than well. Imagine that was before politicians came into place. Who was in charge? They were in charge. They were the ministers, they were the head of the specific tribes.
Yes.
The 8 tribes and other tribes that came over. We are more than 8 tribes anyway, by the way, and we appreciate all the tribes in Botswana. There's nothing like a small tribe. Yeah. If you look at the amount of work that they did to preserve this country until politicians and the modern sort of way of thinking came in, we need to credit them. I just need to start there.
Yes.
We need to credit Mahosi Arona, the whole country.
Yeah.
Especially that by instill an element of a strong culture of ownership as individuals. There was a lot of ownership. Those were strategies that were in place in specific areas. I'll give you an example. They will know what the specific things to make sure that not for them to fight, but monitor, promote peace within their communities.
Yeah.
Then issues of maitseo na manyamuruba.
Okay, you mentioned COVID, and indeed I have my scarf here, and we are ready to social distancing. We're doing the rest
We've
of it.
maintained that.
But of course we have to talk, so we pull it down. But my point is, you're saying that the COVID situation has shown that we are blessed.
Yeah.
Can you speak to that before we move to our next subject?
It's just a miracle that our neighbor, South Africa, seems not to be doing well, and we need to pray for South Africa. Even this morning we have the team of prayers. We pray for South Africa and Africa and the whole and the world to ensure that God and towards South Africa, because our brothers and sisters. But if you look at the fact that they are just a stone throw away, and they seem not to be doing well with this COVID problem.
But when you look at numbers, there's 60 million
no,
almost.
They are. I mean, Soweto here is not even half the population of Botswana, 1/4.
Yeah.
Yeah. That as well. But at the same time, for some very good reason, I need to say Botswana is a God-loving country, and God loves us because it still could have happened. Still was to us,
a lot worse.
It could have been a lot worse. But somehow we managed to maintain ourselves and control ourselves and be active listeners. Active listeners in the sense that when we were advised to stay home, we did stay. We stayed home. We stayed home. And that, to me, that was a plus. I've seen other countries losing temper, losing patience when you're dealing with the stay-home concept. But I think we still have those ethics of it was amazing.
Yes.
We stayed home. And it's our culture. So we listened. And actively. Because as much as we could have thought otherwise, we managed our feelings. There are a lot of people who could have wanted to do ABCD. We are capable of doing ABCD, but we are just collected and uniformed.
Yes.
And that's our culture.
Yeah.
That's who Botswana are. That's our brand as Botswana.
Even some who could have challenged it. They withheld.
Yes, sir. No, we did well, sir.
I think that's a good point. Now, you're talking of a leadership vacuum. That's one of the things that you've identified.
Yep.
Are you saying as a country or as a region or even as a continent there's a vacuum, or it's at an individual level? I think you'll need to break that down.
I need to break it down, yeah. Let me just chip in by saying, you recall that during the reign of Lerumo, he was, I think, I stand to be corrected, but I think I'm accurate. We had what we call, he was given a global award. Botswana was given a global award through Lerumo. Leadership. And that says that we're competing with UK, the Mo Ibrahim Award.
Yes.
We are competing with New York, we're competing with London, we're competing with Russia. That is a challenge. And when you look at the level of unemployment, and you look at the level of our graduates, and you look at the level of our professionals around, it's questionable whether we're really doing well. And when you look at economically, we're still buying a box of match from South Africa. If you look at the agricultural side, we're still importing a lot of food from outside. But prior to politics, like I say,
yes.
They could think further down the line.
You mean those
containers,
grain containers?
Those grain containers.
Yes.
Look at the museum Kokanyi.
Called what? Silos.
Silos.
Yeah.
Definitely. Look at the museum Kozibatwing. Look at how well built it was. Look at the Mogobe Dam. Look at the Mabudikomo, just to mention a few. So you look at King George, the hall. But I'm talking about between the second.
So we had food security.
We had food security. And we had innovation was at a very high level. With sustainability. The projects that I'm mentioning are projects that have sustainability. Mogobe Dam, water resource, water management. Yet we still had a lot of boreholes around Kanyi. So they could think further down the line. And again, the level of discipline by then was much appreciated. There was discipline. People were disciplined. Let me start with our young people, Central Local School at primary level. We will be going weekends, Morakamasimu, to work, to participate at a very young age.
Isn't there danger of glorifying the good old days? And
I think I need to, because I'm being statistical, I'm being factual.
Yes.
I'm looking at the fact that today, young people of today, Form 3, Form 5s, they don't know what Maraga game is. You know, they've never had that opportunity, or by the footsteps, they see the fade out. Hence, youth programs don't seem to be effective.
Maybe our generation
in
is
farming.
to blame because we didn't transition to this.
That is the vacuum I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That is the vacuum I'm talking about. That today we don't seem to have a lot of matured young people, middle-aged people who can stand on their own and make a difference without being employed or looking for work with all the qualifications.
Someone said the problem is that our kids are being brought up by televisions and social media to some point, to some extent. We have no time to really raise the children.
It's true that. The uncle's role was then. The uncle was the uncle. Your dad, my uncle.
And the aunt, yes.
And the aunt.
Yes.
They had specific roles.
Yes.
And the grandmother.
He is mentioning the fact that we are related. He is my cousin. Our parents, from his side, the mother, and from my side, the father, they are siblings. I think that's what he's alluding to.
Definitely.
The listeners may not know.
They may know what I'm talking about. I knew you'll pick it up.
Yes.
They had roles, but today we don't have uncles with those specific roles. The aunties used to take care of the young girls when they're growing up. They'll be the uncles. Oh, I've stayed with my uncle, and I learned a lot from him.
Yes.
And one of the things why we are assigned to stay with uncles, a bit of discipline. You will tighten the ropes a little. Much better than your mom and dad, but in a positive manner. That's why I'm so proud of my uncle, Lerumo Mogobe, because I learned a lot from him. And even when I came to Gaborone, I stayed with him. Yet I could still afford to rent, but I stayed with him. You understand? And there was so much love and caring attitude. I didn't miss the father figure. And my auntie was there. Mama was there. You know what I'm saying? So we have lost these fabrics. And because of that, now you mentioned the issue of social technology, social media. There's nothing wrong with technology. Technology to me is like a knife. There's nothing wrong with having a knife. It's the mindset. What are you going to do with the knife? It's used for bread and used for cutting meats and all sorts of things.
So what are you urging the audience and the listeners to do on this score?
Ownership. Ownership. It's an element of ownership. It's your child. Social media has got nothing to do with it. It's your child.
We cannot need the discipline to say to the child, put away this device.
Thank you, sir.
Let's sit and talk.
Thank you very much. You are in charge. You are the parent.
Yeah.
You know my kids. You know the way I brought them up.
Yes.
Still with technology. They've never let me down. I'm very proud and humbled to have had them, and I thank the Lord for all that I'm able to achieve with them. We as parents need to role model, have a roadmap for our families and for our kids. Despite any child, it doesn't matter whether you've got challenge A, B, C, D, divorce, unemployment, you still need to be in charge.
All right. The next point I want us to talk about is appreciation.
Appreciation.
Appreciation. How does that relate to leadership, and what would you urge the listeners to do, and what points would you want to share on that score?
Allow me to share what I once shared with Rerahawane, the Dr. Kwet Masire. May his soul rest in peace, QKJ. Yes. One of the discussions that I had at his place after his retirement was, what has happened to role models in this country? He said, we assassinate role models.
We assassinate them.
We assassinate them. And we still assassinate role models in this country.
How so?
What I meant by then was to say to him, where are those key people in the community whom we can look at as look up to as role models, who can develop what we call intrinsic motivation, and get us to see positive, think positive, walk positive, talk positively, you know? And he was 110% accurate to say, we assassinate role models. It gets to the point of appreciation. I was just worried that what he meant was that as much as we have people who are innovative, who are creative, we don't seem to appreciate their innovation and creativity.
But
let me look at
extreme.
He had to. Killing them not with guns. In Botswana, we don't shoot you. No. You don't disappear. We socioeconomically just tighten you down a little. We disadvantage you. We belittle you in a way. We make sure that you don't feel like you exist. Even the criteria of, let me go a little political. How do you appoint specially elected MPs and councillors? Do you have any criteria of getting the best of the best to do the job? Or is it politically done?
Are we saying that we need to revive meritocracy?
We need to.
Where we look at merit.
Yes, sir. If you need results, you need quality.
Yeah, but I won't let you off lightly on this accusation that we assassinate role models, because that seems very severe. How do we do that exactly?
Let me give an example. There's a young man at the age of 45, 50. He started a business, he's doing very well, extremely well. He's employed about 40, 60 people or more. He's not even sitting too far from me. Don't you think we need to, don't you think we need to appreciate that we have Botswana, men and women who have done so well, so greatly well, that we need to motivate them. They're intrinsically motivated, socioeconomically stable, but you need to. There's a motivational video called Even Eagles Need a Push. That's the point I'm getting at.
Yes.
And that's what me and Rahawani were discussing by that point. To say, yes, people are there, they're doing well, but we have structures, set structures, consistently, fairly.
What I hear from you is that we're actually pulling down our eagles.
Thank you, sir.
We're not giving them a chance to fly.
Rahone said it in the right way as the former president. He knew what he was talking about, and I understood him.
Yeah.
But
in other words, it's so obvious, it's so clear, there's no need to break it down.
There's no need to break it down. And I was so humbled by the fact that he said it, and at one point I need to really emphasize, may his soul rest in peace, Remoza. I made a follow-up with him because it was at my song and then at his home, and he said, you guys were speaking Sengwakitsi. Because people thought I've asked a sensitive question. Yeah. But to me,
was it an interview on TV?
It was an interview at Mighty Song.
Oh, okay.
We had a session at Mighty Song.
Oh, I see.
And then I followed it up, being at a more relaxed, and he maintained his words and his wisdom. He had wisdom. We need to look into that, whether we have criteria, references when dealing with these issues. Standards, as one may say. Or whether you'll just pick Taolo Moshaga because I'm your friend. Or because I like you, or because I talk bad about other people and I excite you. Do I have the qualities?
Competence.
Do I have the competence? Do I have a track record? You understand? Am I exposed for that level? My argument is that we're not doing well in that one.
Now, we have to be looking at the positive. One point that I want us to talk about is leadership with a backbone. Backbone, are you referring to courage? Are you referring
to courage,
audacity?
boldness.
Boldness.
Yeah.
Break it down.
Very simple. If you look at our educational system, for the past, 10 years or more, we ain't doing well. Our kids are failing, they're not doing well at school. Standard 7, Form 3, Form 5, no, they're not doing well. The attitudes, the results are terrible. It's unfortunate for us. The other side of the road is a Tswana medium. The other side is an English medium. The English medium results will be 100% pass rate. The other side of the road, where it's Tswana, it will be 10%, 20% pass rate. Something's wrong. Same kid. From the same family.
Same neighborhood.
Same neighborhood. The other side of the road. Even the last results that we got. But we don't seem to be having a situation whereby we can show concern. I'm not saying that. But show concern. And those who are paid to do this job, are they comfortable and happy that we are getting this type of results? If you look at the amount of money that is spent on youth programs, on associations and NGOs, our government is the best government in the world. Trust me. The unfortunate thing is implementation, follow-up in certain key areas. We are failing there. That's why I'm saying we lack backbones. If I may just give you an example of the show business. My former association, boom, How many millions were spent on arts, in the arts industry? And you ask yourself in 10 years, what have we achieved in the arts industry? Who was responsible and accountable for the millions spent in those specific areas? It was a positive thing that the sponsor was willing to say, I need you to grow independently. But he could not check one thing.
He could not?
The readiness. The readiness. If you give me 1 million, can I manage $1 million? The same thing with SEDA loans. I do the business plan. I've done it for a lot of people. 4.5 million. It's approved in the next minute. Taolo Moshaga has never been had a business that is worth 10 pula, that he ran effectively well. And I need to manage 4.5 million overnight. No mentoring. Lack of mentoring and close mentoring and close vision.
Why do you call it backbone? Leadership with backbone.
Backbone meaning that when things are wrong in our culture, it's wrong. When things ain't well, they ain't well. Somebody can say, this is not right. I'll give an example. Last week I called His Excellency, Dr. Masisi, the president, because there was a Facebook issue. A lot of misinformation, people were mismanaging
in this business of having his picture as a, they used it as a profile picture.
It's a profile picture, and they will start communicating with other people. But yet that was not Masisi. I called him up and said, Your Excellency, with all due respect, something that is bothering me. At national level, this ain't right. You need to put a stop to it. And he acted promptly. I even called Retsekedi Khame because...
But isn't that something controlled by Facebook in America?
Whether it's America or where, still, I strongly feel we need to have systems in place, security models in place that can deal with issues like this.
How did they solve it? They spoke directly to these people?
It was televised.
That we should stop.
That you stop. And again, they indicated that if it's from His Excellency, the President, Dr. Masisi, there were some specific things that you will relate to in the correspondence. Not just a blank picture and the words. But it's branded in a way.
So even those who call themselves supporters were using his, because they would have the PH's face as a profile, but then they would be saying something nasty or something negative, something that is not right.
I could not just ignore that. I even called Retsekedi Khama on behalf of former President Dr. Ski Khama to say, hey, TK, we call him that. Can you please help us here? There's this communication that is coming from my elder brother, the former president. We know it's not accurate. What are you doing about it? Because it's doing a lot of damage. And we talked about it, discussed it.
That was fixed?
That was...
or at least reduced?
Reduced, I think.
Drastically?
It's something that we need systems, we need security systems for key people, like presidents, dealing with issues like such.
Maybe you could take this moment to talk to the listener and tell them what they should do on that score and what you advised, how to treat this.
The basic element of us as Botswana is respect. Respect, for one reason. Anything that you do, are you comfortable that if you do it to your parents or somebody does it to your parents, you'll be happy? If the answer is no, don't do it. Very simple.
Simple. Okay. All right. Leadership with a baby. Let's move to effective systems which would help us with implementation. Because everything is about systems, isn't it?
Yeah, true that. I have quite a good number of strategic plan copies from ministries, NGOs, private sectors. I strongly believe a lot of strategic plans with their strategic foundations are not well followed and implemented. Especially that a lot of them, they don't even have a risk analysis or risk management plan attached to them. So it becomes more of the writings in the wall. Or else this country will be far.
You have a consultant, he comes and presents in a workshop, and then it's thank you, goodbye, here's a report.
Manual.
That's it. That's it.
These things, let me talk about the vision, mission statement and values for organizations and institutions. You're not supposed to, you should just, it's a culture, it's a professional way that is expected from that institute. But a lot of them is just vision, be smart, warm greeting, boto. But can you feel that? Can you experience that?
Yes.
No. In most cases, you don't.
You don't.
You don't. It's 1 in a million.
So let's deal with implementation. How should it be done?
It's very simple. Commitment from the top. Commitment from the top. It's called drivers. Do we have drivers? You can have a beautiful car, Mercedes-Benz Range Rover, but if the driver is not careful, even with tires, even with the body, even with lamps, you'll smash everything.
I've heard someone say that you have things called KPIs.
Key performance indicators. They are indicated in strategic planning. In fact, they start with key result areas. Then the areas will yield indicators. You know, that you need both. They're there. But it's like, allow me to have a bit of a backbone. Who manages ministers' effectiveness and permanent secretaries and directors? How well are they managed to perform and excel? A 5-year strategic plan. I've been around with a lot of organizations. Can I have a report of a 5-year strategic plan? If it's possible. A lot of times you don't see an evaluated 5-year plan with analysis going forward. Okay. Hence, you have the deficit at an alarming rate in billions now. At country level, it's not healthy.
The sixth thing that I want us to talk about is when you say participation.
Yeah.
The reason I raise it is almost sometimes you feel as if you have a chef who's there, an excellent chef, very experienced, but he's somehow unable to get the right ingredients, or the ingredients are there, but they cannot put them together to come up with that right meal or that right cake.
Yep.
So the ingredients are all scattered.
Scattered, yeah.
And so on participation, can you just sort of break it down for us and help us see what can be done? Because I'm always wanting to think in terms of solutions.
Yeah, definitely true that. Yeah. Let's give an example of the most effective sports team.
Yeah.
How best is it run? You have the coach. Does the coach spend 2 hours during the game somewhere else? Or does he spend 110% of the time by the field?
Watching the game.
Watching the game. That's the difference. In real professional management, that is the gap. That's why sports people are the highest paid people in the world. Because the coach is there, the referee is there on the spot. Yellow card, red card. For the past 10 years,
It's funny you should say that, because I've seen in UAE, when I read about the founder of UAE,
thank you.
He is the one who follows up the projects himself. He goes to sites physically.
That's how it should be done.
And I see Magufuli in Tanzania,
thank you,
attending to sites, physically getting involved. But we have a style of leadership in this part of the world where I'm in my office and that's it.
Yeah, you are the boss, the air conditioner. People need to get there by invitations. They need to get there by appointments all the time.
You're not going to site.
Allow me to thank the former Vice President, the Lieutenant General Merafi. His door was a bit more open for me because he knew I'll never spend more than 5 minutes with him. And I'll always make sense. So he gave me the green light, no appointment. If you need me, come. Including both Dr.
You were going to mention Regidikule. I thought you had much closer.
I'm getting to that.
Yes.
No, even both of them, in fact, at the different levels.
Yes.
But Regidikule as well.
Yeah.
Why? Because of the discipline and maturity that I applied with them. It was about national issues all the time. Getting back to that point, the sports people, the referee is there. Any slight mistake, red card, yellow card, warning, first warning, within how much time? Less than an hour. Split second, you know what I'm saying? That's what management needs to do. Look at Formula One, one of the most expensive sports in the world, Formula One. They say we are flexible and adaptive. We are all chief executives, that philosophy.
Mr. Moshaga, I want you to talk to our leadership. How can you persuade them? Take this time to persuade them to get their hands dirty.
Our great leaders of this country.
For me, it's getting to a point where I can't spend the whole day without going to site.
Thank you.
Getting my hands dirty, see what's happening. How can we inculcate that in our leadership? Because sometimes they say you can't teach an old dog new tricks.
that means you don't like the dog. It's your dog.
Yeah.
It's serving you.
Not to say
get rid of it.
But I mean,
I'm with you. It's a very simple formula. In our culture, ha re gola go ne go te go na le senatla, go na le setswerere, go na le kwankwetla, go na le sethaka.
A champion, a master, a guru.
A guru.
Yeah, in English, yeah.
Nothing new. What we should not be struggling to say, where are we going wrong? As if we need to go to UK, to America to learn this. No, our parents mastered these principles. That's what made them proud. That's what made us even today proud. So we need, as managers, as drivers, to ensure that we strategically develop passion.
So
I'll give you an example.
Yes.
Our grandparents at the cattle post, Rona at around 5, 6. We don't even check or I do commodities lesot. And I had like a 10 weeks without the torch. I would try What does it do? Our robala?
No.
Without the torch, what are Rabana do really this wakai? About it's like a mutala. In less than an hour or two, what I believe in a money.
Yes.
Away by us again, pass up.
Yes. So in other words, they get their hands dirty. Is that what you mean by total participation?
That's our culture. That's how we manage as Botswana to be economically sound with our diamonds. Role modeling. Hence, I was discussing with the former president, Kapitsa, role modeling. Role modeling. If you need to use the Christian formula, because I even say that to you,
Exactly.
You understand that part? It's critical. And like I said, close monitoring, hence we are at an earlier stage appreciation. They are linked to Mogobe in the sense that the best performer should be motivated, not by money. Any reward, whether it's by letter, but we should be honest and consistent. Intrinsic motivation.
Yeah.
You as the leader, you should drive that. Make sure that you transfer that initiative to your subordinates, that they should have, at the end of the day, intrinsic motivation, not fear management. A lot of fear management, I won't demote you, I'll transfer you. No. That's not the way.
It's not the way, yeah.
That's not the way. The other ways of doing it, the right approach.
Mr. Moshaga, let's carry on with our conversation. Let's talk about operational team building.
Operational team building.
I want you to help me understand the terminology and then see how we can apply it to leadership.
Our culture, since how again chapidi gasatata. Wa esi gawile. Tsemale thata ka monga lone.
Which basically means yes.
These are some
Which is all to do with team building.
It's all to do with team building. And if you need to understand why socio-economically, without Betley's Bank and banks years back, how our parents made it because of team building, effective team building. There were strategic banks. They knew how to hold as a team to multiply. That's why that's team building.
Explain that to these youngsters who are watching.
I've got nothing. We have a couple of good, a number of heads of cattle. And you say, take care of these 3 cows of mine. In 10 years, there'll be 20. You give me back the 12, you maintain the 8. Now, you're better than nothing. That's teamwork. That's effective teamwork. You can measure what their working together has yielded from the poor of the poorest. Now this guy has managed to achieve this level. That's the strength of Botswana. That is the strength of Botswana. But it was enhanced by the fact that our traditional leaders, the Khosi.
That's how we survived thousands and thousands of years.
That's how we survived. That's how we survived.
Yeah.
Effective team building is our strength. Even in our language, spoken language, that's why we tell a lot of the cow, diane, the
idioms and proverbs,
the enricher, the West. Most of us everywhere these days, we speak simple, straight language. It's not rich, but our parents are not like us.
But we can reawaken that.
We can, we should. Hence this project here in Nanauri. Hence, Kitlaki make sure whatever the concept that you talk about, I throw in our culture to make sure that you don't mislead yourself by thinking it was just a quiet. These concepts are human related. They are human related.
And they are inbuilt. They are in our DNA.
They are inbuilt. They are. The only difference that our grandparents, they were more strategic. Yeah, they were more strategic in doing things. They believed in concepts and strategies. Yeah. So that's what
a lot
we
of these great ideas. When you listen to somebody like Steve Covey, you listen to some of his modern gurus, you find that it resonates because it's there already. It's there. You know, it's there already in our culture.
So we need to look into that now, as a nation.
Roadmap. Vision for 2036.
Yeah, roadmap.
We had 2016. Yes, I don't know whether we achieved 2016. Now we have 2036. There was issues of who's going to chair that, who's going to be the patron, and it's still there. Talk about that and how
we lost it. Yeah. That's what we call momentum. Yeah, 2016 had some momentum. We could have taken advantage of that. But I think synchronicity was a problem.
Synchronicity.
Yeah, it was a problem. They did not link. They didn't synchronize. There wasn't. I recall a team that was going national level talking about 2016. I asked them one simple question. I said, can you give us the evaluation report at 2016? In our culture, 2016 did a lot. 2036, a lot of outstanding ideas, outstanding, unquestionably so.
But we still have time, do we?
It's never late. But the thing is, do we have the right drivers? My argument here is drivers.
What I mean by we can still recalibrate, reposition.
Through that. It's never late. But we need to have the right drivers, with the right attitude, with passion. People who have the nation at heart, who can sacrifice, who can go an extra mile in pushing national issues.
So when we talk of the roadmap, as 2036,
yes, sir.
Where do we need to tweak it? When do we need to change it?
Make it practical. It's an element of whether the ruling party and the government of today believes in ensuring that these ideas are part and parcel of the day-to-day running of the government. And whether we have the right resources if need be. But a lot of times we find that these are theories. They don't have the how methodology. No, they don't. So we need drivers who can believe in 2016 as a vision and all the concepts and ensure that they promote, they strengthen the links between 2016 ideas and the ministerial, departmental objectives.
In terms of buy-in, isn't there a simple thing like advertising and promoting it in terms on radio, on social media, on billboards? Isn't that something that should be happening now?
It's common sense, but unfortunately, most of our leaders don't have common sense. It's emotional intelligence. Let's look at the situational analysis.
Say that common sense does not translate to... well, maybe I shouldn't say that.
No. Backbone leaders. Let's look at where we are today.
Common sense is not common practice. That's what they have had.
Let's look at where we are today, 2036. If Corona came just yesterday, but 100% of the nation alignment with Corona, why can't we do the same with Vision 2036? We need leaders, drivers. Common sense, simple. How did it happen that Corona, in less than 2 months, 100% of Botswana population
complied.
And yet 2016, which is a national tool that is meant to protect and enhance our socio-economic, our nationhood. Come on, common sense. Now I'm using the word.
So we need to really talk about
drivers. It's about drivers, Mogobe. Do we have drivers who are committed, who are passionate?
Because with 2016, we did a bit of that.
We did a bit of that. We need drivers. It's an issue of drivers. Do we have drivers with the right attitude and attitude? Do we? Hence, at an earlier stage, we talk about
really
role
we
models.
have the right systems.
The best
we
of the
just
best.
need to implement them.
The best of the best.
Yeah, we have the right systems.
Botswana is one of the best countries in the world, trust me. I've studied in the UK, I've been to the States, I've been to a couple of countries, I've been to France, into Germany. Botswana is one of the best countries in the world. But it's an issue of drivers with passion.
We need to reawaken that passion.
Coronavirus has proved us wrong. We are capable. We are disciplined. Coronavirus, oh, thank you, Lord. Unfortunately, there's the bad side of coronavirus. People will understand that part. I'm talking about positive things that have been reflected during the process, even going forward. If coronavirus...
In a short space of time, nationhood, we just...
You know what I'm saying?
We just went behind our leaders. There was synchronicity, there was discipline, there was all the ingredients you needed for success.
And no force, no pressure, no police, no BDF. No, they were not there.
Well, they did come in just in the streets.
No, they just got in. What I'm saying is, we did not see bazookas and Land Rovers and jets and jumbo jets, you know what I'm saying? We didn't see those things to control us. No, those guys were just a few. I mean, there were about 10, which was a good number.
So does that tell you that there's a lot of goodwill?
Leadership vacuum. It tells me that there's leadership vacuum in this country and in the world. Where are the leaders? If coronavirus was a project, well done, 100% well done. If economics is another project B, we are doing badly.
And we have an opportunity now.
Of course.
Yeah.
We're capable.
We have an opportunity now.
Yeah. We should take advantage of the negative that is in right now.
Let's talk about national pride. You just hinted on this being the best country. There are those who will show you barometers, and recently I had a guest who pointed out that we are the unhappiest people in the world according to certain barometers.
Truly that.
So, can you put that in context when you talk about national pride?
When we talk about role models with the former president and Dr. Kidiki, the late Dr. Merafi, including the late Dr. Kenneth Koma, whom I've worked and learned a lot from him in the past. Basically, we are driving to ensure that if you don't have role models at national level, your structures kind of like collapse the civic society. Your NGOs, the associations, the unions. You see unions in churches at court all the time. Cooperatives. You need those structures in place because the government alone cannot do it.
The NGOs.
The NGOs, the strength is there. Associations, that's what feeds the skeleton called government. And if those structures are not effective and they're not doing well, we can't get it right. We just need fear. But fear works.
Yeah, but let's be positive, Mr. Moshaga. Let's not drain our energy with negativity.
Yeah.
Talk about national pride. How do we revive it? What are the key ingredients that we can just, 2 or 3 points that we can just grab onto?
It's very simple. When I use the word driver, it sounds very simple, but I'm talking about something that is critically, extremely important. We need men and women who are committed, who will be supported and appreciated when they do good and well by all systems. I'll give you an example. Last year when I invited the acting president, Re Slamba Tsuhwane, to award the Kanye Hospital, it's SDA, a trophy, a thank you award. We need more of those Moshagas in the system.
And he did come.
He came. Can you imagine? He came. Because Kanye Hospital is the first hospital in the country. And not by government, not by politicians, by men and women who had a vision and who believed in realizing that vision for SDA. And they came up with a hospital, with a training school. Wow. Credit them. Thank them.
And be open about it.
Of course, yes. And
in other words, celebrate excellence.
Celebrate excellence. I'll quote Remohai, one of his nation addressed. He said, the challenges in Botswana are 3. He said, challenges are a problem, that's somebody challenge. Opportunities are Haridi Boni. Challenges, opportunities, and achievements.
We don't celebrate.
We don't celebrate. That's the Festus Mohai. I thank him for that. I salute him for that. But did we
listen?
did we implement? Look at the former president, Lieutenant General S.K.I. Khama, roadmap for the nation, 4Ds, 5Ds. It was like, no, kid was a Khama.
You used to celebrate them. When I interviewed you on radio.
26,000 young people with 4Ds, with Rekhama, and then the former vice president. National. I've got 8 letters from Rekhama and creditor for the project in Redira. He did not send me proactive strategy. I just realized this is a good idea, roadmap. It's not the first one. The first one was Naiduraki, the first president.
Well, on national pride, I want to invite you to talk to my listeners directly and speak to them at a very, very deeper level, even a cellular level, where you want to reignite national pride. Okay,
so this flag represents us.
This flag.
The beauty of this flag should be reflected by socio-economical competitiveness. We should be competitive globally, Botswana. Each one of us, each second that we spend, each minute, each hour, each day, each week, each month, each year, please, let's ensure that whatever we do it positively. Whatever you do, we consider the beauty of this flag should be reflected in that. Even if we differ with ideas, even if we differ with strategies, even if we differ with the religions, there's one God and one Botswana. What we need to look into as a country is how much are we doing, each one of us, collectively, to ensure that we shine this country globally, I mean it. It's your future. It's my future. Ke future ya bana ba rona. Ke future ya lehatshe la rona. Ke future ya bana ba rona. And it's all in here. It's not just colors. It's passion. It's focus. It's vision. It's ownership, total ownership. At the end of the day, it's a warm heart doing what is good for the future. And it's godly.
Let's go to nugget number 10 as we come to the conclusion.
Yes, sir.
Reconciliation versus maturity and consolidation. Let's deal with that and just sort of wrap it up and bring it home.
As a nation, this year 2020, we should ask ourselves, since even before independence, have we made good progress socioeconomically? Or are we still dependent on other countries, even on basics? You know, the hierarchy of needs, basic needs. Have we achieved basic needs in Botswana as a nation?
You're talking about the Maslow
hierarchy of needs. Yeah. Good. Do we have the basics in place? Yes, we do. I'll give an example. Free school, free education. Wow. But what are we achieving at the end of the day? A stars or D stars? We're getting D minuses and E minuses. Free education from standard 1 Mogobe to standard 5. Something is wrong. Too wrong. Something is wrong in this country. How can we have a child for 7 years at school, failing after 7 years? Where's the parent for 7 years? For 5 years, up to Form 3, Form 5. Where are the parents? We need to do something about it. At the end of the day, if we need to really take this country seriously and ourselves, we need to calculate, start using calculators. How many millions have we spent in education, in farming, SEDA, FAP? What have we achieved today? Any results? That's the reconciliation part of it. It's not politics, it's economics.
You're talking about sort of doing an audit.
Of course.
National
performance audit, national audit. But you don't do it after 400 years, you know. It should be done timelessly.
Like the example you gave with the football.
Thank you, like with football. The referee is there, the coach is there, the people who are there, the health department is there. The financial business advisors are there when these guys get millions in one day because they're paid there.
Like we did with COVID. We had people chasing around, following people around. With COVID, we were proactive.
That's what I'm saying. The project called COVID has proved us wrong. We should be ashamed of ourselves. We should be ashamed of ourselves. Why we cannot have the same discipline?
Maybe when the stakes are high, we wake up. When there's life and death.
But economics, the stakes are high.
Yes, yeah. They're even higher.
They're even higher. They're even higher. You see what I'm saying? So it's an issue of drivers. Strategic thinking at government level is critical. Our government needs to look into the way they are running business, the way they were running business yesterday. Our unions need to. Associations need to. It's just unfortunate that we don't have those drivers who can realign the country to excellence.
Well, I think we have them. We have you, Mr. Moshaga. We have others like
COVID.
You.
No, I'm saying COVID.
Yeah, COVID has proven that they are there.
That's the point.
We just need to find them.
We just need to find them
and celebrate them and bring them forward.
We are the best.
Yeah.
We are the best.
Now, as we conclude, I'd like you to look at the camera and give the listener a takeaway, something they can hold on to. If you like, it's a bonus point that you can hold on to when you talk of fundamentals of effective leadership.
True that. There's an element of honesty that we as Botswana have enjoyed the results for quite a good number of years. And we need, as Botswana, to take a look back and see whether we are moving in the right directions. What used to be done in the past that made us proud, have we enhanced on those principles? Are those principles our critical, fundamental areas of success, or are we lost? We are not lost. We are capable. Botswana, I've said it before, I'm saying it again, we are a good nation. We are peace-loving people. We love people. Let us take advantage of this country. This is the best country in the world. Up to university level, free education, Lord have mercy, we have the best country in the world. Job creation is there. Innovation should be there. But at the end of the day, o dule mo tseleng ke kopa o tsena mo tseleng o tsene mo tseleng ga te moro mogolo go betwa taola o motho wa ipetla ga o santse go na le mongwe ya reng a na le mabogo le tlhaloganyo a ba tlhola ntse gala re ga ke ka dira se do something. Half a loaf is better than nothing. Se jwa se nyega se hete molomo. Those are the areas that we need to look into. I love you. Ke ratela ha tsele re support our leaders from the opposition party, churches. The leader a le lona go itekeng, with all due respect, make us proud across level, across the board. The board.
All right. Just before I let you go, can you tell the viewer where they can reach you, especially if they need your services? And then can you also let them know, Mr. Moshaga, to subscribe to Mogobe Nuggets of Wisdom podcast?
True that, Bagay. So this project, this program, I've credited them even in Hansi Ribua, and I'll credit them again. You're doing a lot of good work.
Thank you.
You know, transformation is critical. Yes, so one of my role models, Lerumo, when I do Moshaga type, you are number one. Moshaga type, you are battle. Mogobe, from the business point, was there worth your equipment and everything. Where share less chaba. Dilo Makwati, Botswana, Matsela bo me amusa matlhale otlhe. Ga gona ope yo asnang tlhaloganyo. It's an issue of where do you spend your energy wisely, then you get the benefits. Mogobe Global Transformation Networks is our organization. Botswana Qualification Authority accredited 715-74868. 715-74868. It's our number. Emo WhatsApp, Remo Facebook, got the same number. But Moshaga@yahoo.com. We have 16 accredited courses with BQA. We are professionals because of this country. Lahatsele le na le megopolo e mentsi e mentle. Re ga wa no na tla re methala khumo e mentsi e tlhoka balatedi.
Thank you very much, dear listener. This is one of our wonderful programs. Thank you very much. Don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.